Oh, good morning, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you had a fabulous weekend. Just looking at my hair, thinking I've got no excuse now not to get a haircut now that we're all opened up again. Fabulous to have you along with me. What I wanted to have a look at today was the future of the NRA. Will background checks be strengthened? Personally, I don't see the issue with background checks. Nobody's trying to take any guns off anybody. They're just trying to make sure that those that have the guns are relatively responsible. So we'll have a quick look at the background checks. And I'll have a look at to see how, so both Marjorie Taylor Greene and can't think of her first name, Boebert, are up for election later this year. I want to see how they go. Not the brightest tools in the shed, those two. Interesting reflection on those who voted for them, and I do suspect that the reason that they got in the first place because they were the Trump-sponsored candidates rather than their own personal what they could bring to the party. So we'll have a quick look at those and see whether it's changed. I did touch on this last week. If you are a Democrat and you still have time, feel free to change your registration to, I find this fascinating from Australia, change your registration to a Republican so you can vote in the primaries, so that you can vote for anybody but these sorts of people, so that they then become the, even though it might irk, but that it means then that they can become, someone more moderate can become the Republican candidate for the actual election. And it does mean that, and then you still vote Democrat in the actual election in November, but it does mean that if the Republicans come out in force, you then at least get a more moderate, centralist, right-winged, rather than these absolute loon bags. Okay, so what am I going to have a look at first? I might have a look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I'm going to use my Trip and Wait tarot because I think these are the sorts of cards that she deserves. This is the woman who, now, nothing against her personally, but when you start talking about sending in the gazpacho police, now if you want to know what gazpacho is, it is a tomato soup served cold instead of Gestapo police, talking about governments monitoring what you eat via peach trees, which we assume she meant petri dishes, which are the little shallow dishes that you put a medium in the bottom to grow cultures on. Now, in regards to that, in Australia, we have had for as long as I can remember, the government has tested the output or what was coming in to the local sewerage works. They're not targeting anyone personally. You're talking about suburbs worth of substance that are coming into these sewerage works. They tested in Australia, they've been doing it for decades, and what they are really looking for is to make sure that there is no outbreaks of serious disease that hasn't yet been picked up by the medical population. And it was very useful during COVID, especially in a lot of our smaller towns where they didn't have great medical facilities, and the sewage was being detected, and the government officials could warn the town that they have potentially found a case of COVID in the town. They don't know who it is. It may have been someone that just passed through and used the public loos, or it may have been someone that had COVID somewhere else and has come home because you could shed the cells for a while thereafter. But it meant that they could warn the town to be on alert. And that's all it's used for. It is used also to see what drugs are being used in particular areas, what the wealthy are using versus what the not so wealthy are using, and it's just a statistical marker. They're not trying to work out whether you had a cheeseburger for dinner or not. It's got nothing to do with that at all. So anyhow, so they're those peach tree dishes. And again, this is the same woman who's thought that or accused a particular religious sector of using space lasers to start bushfires a few years back. Oh, goodness me. So, okay, I want to have a look at Marjorie Taylor Greene in the... I don't know if she's gotten through on the primaries or not. Haven't really looked into it. I know your primaries are going on now, but tell me, how will Marjorie Taylor Greene go in the November House elections, is it? Yeah, I think it's your House there, because they're every 2 years. Gosh, 2 years is not long enough. Well, it's more than long enough for the likes of these, but when you get decent people in, it's not long enough for them to actually make a difference. You seem to be in a continuous election cycle. But tell me, how's Marjorie Taylor Greene? Oh, it is in this particular deck, Russia. These are Russian connections. Ooh! Okay, are Russian connections going to come out? Okay, tell me about Marjorie Taylor Greene in the November 2022 elections. Tell me about Marjorie Taylor Greene in the 20... All I'm getting is that she is... Okay, don't want to be derogatory about anyone, but I'm literally getting an empty head. She's just completely not there. She is spouting out whatever she thinks or whatever she is being told to say. It is literally, okay, her head's getting full of just swirls of things to spit out. Just to spit out, to cause fear and controversy. They're looking like, if you've seen the Harry Potter movies, they look like Dementors, little Dementors, swirling around in her mind, and every so often one of them just shoots out. Not evil, just deliberately poisonous, toxic. Okay, let's have a look. Tell me about Marjorie Taylor Greene. These cards are quite slippery. Tell me about Marjorie Taylor Greene in the November 2022 election for the House. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Here's your voters. Get out and vote. Get out and vote and help others to vote. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, let's have a look at this. Bit of an airhead. Ooh! Full illumination. Right. Let's see what it's challenged by, because that's not normally a card I would get. It's usually a yes card. I don't know who her opposition, her Democratic opposition is. Okay. There's going to be full illumination of this money that she has received, and it is melting away from her. It usually means a new start, this particular card financially. Can do. Income of wealth, income of health. But it's almost taking on a zombie-like effect. So there's going to be full illumination into the money that she has received. Let's see where this leads us. She will be under investigation. I don't even know if she's going to make it to the election. She will be under investigation in the past. The King of Wands, these are the lawmakers. In the past. Okay. This is interesting. We'll keep going with this. Oh, she got the same card as Abbott did in the same place. Death. This is the ending of her. So this illumination of this looks almost acidic, toxic money will be investigated, and it will lead to her ending. Not physical death, just ending. Immediate future. My Russia card's popped up again. In this deck, it's my Russia card. Some decks it's not, some decks it means abundance, but in this particular one, And in this particular reading, it is Russia. So this is in the immediate future. There's going to be some link in regards to this money, and externally she's going to have to walk away. Oh, this is interesting. Internally, she's going to be having to defend herself. I'm just looking at the wide-eyed craziness of the character in this, as if believing it couldn't happen to them. But she's going to have to walk away, defending herself. Hopes and fears, defeated in battle, wounded, having to retreat, having to rest and recuperate, but very much having to retreat. And take a good lie, take a Bex and a lie down. Oh, okay. The outcome is this card about betrayal and deceit and abuse of power and corruption and stealing and all this yuck. Oh, interesting. Celebration and the High Priestess. Okay, keep going. For the voter. Okay. So she's going to be under investigation for all this. Going to lead to her ending as her corruption basically is exposed. There will be joy when it happens. There will be things that are hidden that will come to the fore. They will be hidden. The things that are hidden, and it is for the truth will come out for the voter. The truth will come out for the voter. Now, I don't know who she's up against, but this is very much a skilled orator, bringing forward a new plan, a new message, a youthful person. So I'd be interested. Let me know who Marjorie Taylor Greene's up against. A youthful person. Now, I don't know whether she's had her primary yet either. But I did ask about the November election rather than the primary. But I'm seeing that this is who she's up against. Who is she up against? And her lies will be brought to justice. Wow, okay. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune. Karma is going to come back and bite her on the bottom. Endings and beginnings. And you've got, so in this particular card, you've got the Devil feature on the bottom and the wise leader on the top. And she is going to find that her corruption is going to leave her out in the cold. So this is the card about, okay, she's going to find herself out in the cold, unwelcome, unwanted. But this is also about moral corruption. Moral corruption. There is a choice that needs to be made, but the Page of Swords is going to bring forward the truth, the sword of truth in regards to the money laundering, in regards to her connections to Trump organisation. Sorry, they'll be under review. The partnerships that she had made with the King of Pentacles, and this is the law. This is my. This is the lawmakers again. So the lawmakers have bookended this, and she's potentially. I don't know that she's going to find herself in jail, but she's going to find herself severely restricted. And it will be an ending for her. Okay, let us see if that comes true. But there's a lot of information there that I didn't necessarily expect. But the fact that we've got the Death card, we've got the lies, deceit, betrayal card, we've got, what else have we got for it? Oh gosh, there's everything. A lot to do with investigation, a lot to do with the Trump org. We've got the money laundering. We've got her out in the cold. We've got her facing justice. We've got betrayal, deceit, moral corruption. You name it. it's all happening for her. Okay, thank you, Master. He's just told me that she's not going to see it coming. She's not going to see it coming. Okay. Boebert. Not so sure about Boebert. She's been, well, tell me. I haven't seen a lot about her recently. Is she keeping a low profile? Has she realised that perhaps she needs to pull back a bit in her craziness? I'll just do 4 cards for Boebert. She's not really, well, on the international stage that we see over here in Australia, she's not as nuts as Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's not drinking from the fountain of insanity to the same degree. But tell me about Lauren Boebert. That's it, Lauren Boebert. Tell me about, just 4 cards please. How will Lauren Boebert go in the November 2022? The doling out, giving and receiving help, but also the beggaring. We'll see where that leads. It is about giving and receiving help, but it is at the discretion of the one that is, oh, you guys have popped out again at me. Oh, you have popped out again with your strength. But yeah, that was very much about discretion of help. Begging for help. Is she going to be begging for help? Tell me how Lauren Boebert, again, I don't know if she's gotten through the primaries. Lauren Boebert, 20. Marjorie Taylor Greene, boy, she's in for a interesting time. Bit of a roller coaster, but tell me about Lauren Boebert. Thanks, Meister. Lauren Boebert in the November 2022. If there's anyone else you want me to have a look at, just pop it in the comments below. Lauren Boebert 2022. Lauren Boebert, November 2022. Come on, Meister, get those cards out there. Thank you. If you're just starting out with tarot, there is a certain feel to the cards, and you form with your spirit guide a pattern of how they're going to tell you when they're ready. So just listen to your guides in regards to that. Here is wish fulfillment. Okay. The genie in the bottle. Once the genie's been let out, you cannot put it back. There is a crossroads here, a difficult decision to be made. Here is your money laundering, your dark money, and loss. Loss, and it will be a rather rapid downfall. Full illumination, the Tower. Yeah, I don't think I need to go much further with her. So she's one of these genies that's been let out of the bottle. This is also a card for the smug merchant, but this is what I'm getting from this card is just be careful what you wish for. Is what it's not normally how this card plays, but that's what I've just been told. Be careful what you wish for. There is a crossroads. There is a difficult decision to be made. This is someone who is protecting themselves from the truth. They've got their back to reality. They've got their blinders on. So there is a crossroads in regards to the truth. However, we do have, this is my money laundering card. This is my dark money card. Why does this card comes up so often for these radical Republicans, this dark money, this payments under the counter, but I am seeing loss and disappointment for her. It will be quick. There won't be any fiddle-faddling around in regards to this, and the full illumination or joy at her downfall. Okay, Oh, we've got at the base for her again this acidic, toxic, melting, zombie-ish money card. This money card. So whatever state she's in, I don't even know what area she's in. She's in one of those Midwestern southern areas, I think. There will be moving on with a rebalancing, hope and faith, restoration of the system. Okay, so that is Lauren Boebert. So I'm not seeing great things for either of them. Can't say I'm terribly upset about that. Okay, last 10 minutes, I want to have a quick look at the future of the NRA. I'm going to use my intuition cards for this, usually lovely cards. Okay, first of all, I'm going to have a look at background checks. No, not that deck. Sorry, I only brought a certain number over with me. Will there be a tightening of background checks for gun ownership in the US? Will there be a tightening? If you don't watch him, please check out Bo of the Fifth Column. Great little videos, 3 to 8 minutes usually, where he discusses. He's a very intelligent man who was. He looks like he would be a far right-wing redneck, but he's actually very progressive. He doesn't support particularly either political party because he doesn't believe the left is left enough. But he was a military contractor. He really knows, intelligence contractor. He really knows his stuff. And he was talking last week about he was at his local petrol station where the locals know him. There was someone in there he didn't know. He had seen around but didn't know. The lady behind the counter called this woman over to Bo saying, oh, he'll know the answer. And the question that this lady had for Bo was, I am putting together a medical kit for my classroom. How many chest seals and tourniquets do I need? And this is a teacher. This is a teacher asking, what do they need in their medical kit in their classroom to cope with a shooting event? I just talk about a kick in the guts that this is even what teachers have to be considering. And the reason they have to consider it is Texas was a perfect example. There were kids that were shot, and the medics can't go in until after it's declared safe. The police did not go in for about an hour, 50 minutes or something, so therefore the medics couldn't go in. So the only chance that some of those kids may have had when minutes, seconds count, would have been a teacher on hand with an appropriate war zone medical kit. Like, oh, far out. So, sit in the positive, the energy, the strength, the light. Oh, I'm sorry, I've got chills all up and down in regards to that. But follow Bo. He has put out some statistics in regards to apparently 60% of mass shootings are undertaken by people who have a domestic violence record or an animal cruelty record. So he's very supportive that people with those sorts of records should not, rather than trying to limit the guns themselves, is limit who has access to them. Because apparently bans in the past on particular types of guns hasn't worked, and realistically it has to be bans on the type of people that can get hold of them. I was also quite shocked that the leading cause of death for children in the US is gunshots in the home. As an Australian, where we have freedom to go to the beach, go to the church, go to the supermarket, go to the restaurant, go to school, without a thought in the world of having to in any way protect ourselves, it's just mind-blowing. But as I keep saying, deep breath, surround yourself in the light, sit in the positive energy, and take whatever action you can. And if that is simply voting at the election, that is enough. Do what you can, and whatever you can do is enough. So don't despair. Okay, background checks. Please tell me, background checks, will there be changes to background check requirements? I'm seeing on a federal level, I'm seeing an executive order. I've got Biden signing, so I'm seeing it will be at a federal level. However, it could possibly be challenged in the Supreme Court. Let me have a look at, will there be changes to background checks requirements for those wanting weapons? Stabbed in the back. I'm seeing that Supreme Court, he has to put so many ducks in a row before he takes action. Because if he signs something before the Supreme Court is on side, what have I got flipped over? Yeah, there will be a change, but he has to get the ducks in the row before he can make it happen. If he signs something before the Supreme Court is favourably in place, it's going to be thrown out, which means it's thrown out. But tell me, this is about the circles of support, and going back to a fair and just way of doing things. So I'm not going to read any further on that. I think what I'm really getting just from the few cards that threw out, but the visions I'm getting is that yes, he will sign something really significant, but he has to have these other aspects in place before he does so. So I'm just feeling him very. He wants to make it happen, but he knows that if he needs to make it stick as well. Does that make sense? Okay, the future of the NRA, please. Families coming together. This is about protecting the children. Okay, tell me about the future of the NRA. Future of the NRA. This is about Biden. Yes, it will happen, but he can't just make it happen because he needs to make it. He knows he needs to make it. That it can't be removed, that it can't be challenged, or if it can be, the challenge will fail. Okay, tell me about the future of the NRA, please, Meister. Future of the NRA. We'll scoot through this because I've been going for long enough as it is. Getting on my little soapboxy there, here and there. The world is watching you. The world is watching. Tell me about the future of the NRA. I think as someone made a comment on Bose when he was talking about the teacher with the medical kit. Someone made a comment about the rest of the world just looks on in disbelief that Americans go out in fear of being shot, whereas the rest of us go out in fear of being struck by lightning. So, our greatest fear is to be struck by lightning. So yeah, we just find it, and I know that you know, and you're in the same boat. I know that you are in the same boat. But tell me about the future of the NRA. Tell me about the future of the NRA. Okay, we'll see how we go. These two have leapt out. this darkness, there needs to be a leap of faith, a leap of trust. Okay, and it needs to be broken down. It will be broken down. Okay, so I'll keep going with this. This is the NRA at the moment. It is an insidious dark cloud, but people are leaping away from it, and it will be destroyed. It will be destroyed. Blank card, deliberately blank card. Nothing is written in stone yet, but this is because I said, what is the future of the NRA? It is all about technology. This is my card for the internet, getting the message out there, and they will be hemorrhaging money. Yay! Their growth will be down. Yes, thank you. And they won't have a legal leg to stand on. Their growth will be down. Their strength. Let's see what card comes after that. The strength will be the illumination of peace that will destroy this document. With help, this can come to fulfillment, but it will take time, as there has to overcome this masculinity. This is my card for excessive. It will take time, but it has to overcome the masculinity. The domestic masculinity of greed, avarice, indulgence that is intertwined, plus stop this okay, right. So what this row is telling me is that it is through this communication and trusting and working together that you will bring this in time to fulfillment. But it has to, what is in the path at the moment is this masculine domestic situation of greed and excess, etc., that is intertwined in it. Plus, they're going to try and stop any changes. The happiness, drop in the ocean, in bravery. The noise of the message will lead to abundance and freedom. Okay, so I hope that's making sense. There's work to be done. It will be done, and it will be through cutting off the money, through getting the messages out there, getting activism, basically. Activism. And it has to overcome this toxic indulgence on the home front. But this is a positive final roll. Every action that is taken is a drop in the ocean. A drop in the ocean, but it is an action of bravery to get the message out there, the noise out there. Have to be noisier. That's a big thing that Americans do. Well, I'm not saying Americans. Some don't understand is that those that support Trump, those that support the NRA, etc., are really noisy, but they are a minority. They just appear to be everywhere, but they're not. The majority are sensible people like you and me. Sensible, logical, wise, caring, empathetic, compassionate. The majority of people are. So what needs to get out is the noise of this message. Now, the jester can be a fool, but he is also the one that, if you think back in your history, The court jester was the only one that could tell the king an unpleasant truth and get away with it. He was the trusted advisor of the king. So need to get that truthful message out there, even if it is unpleasant, and that will lead to an abundance of freedom and peace. Abundance of peace. And every action is a drop in the ocean of bravery, but it will lead to this future that is up. This future that is up. So their loyalty will diminish and their cup will be empty as the scales are rebalanced in your country. In your country, and that's a beautiful card to end on. The rainbow of unity and acceptance and diversity. Beautiful card to end on. Well, I was going to end on it, but this one's a pretty good one too. So it is possible. Every little snippet is a step in the right direction. Every action that you take, every word that you put out there, be diligent, and just very much be aware. I've also had via overseas family support and communication. So it's really vital. Just be aware that you are in the majority, but what it is that you need your noise to be heard as well. You need your noise to drown out this self-indulgent toxicity. Okay, thank you for joining me. Sorry that went a little bit long. Hope you got something out of that. Love and strength, as I keep saying, sit in the light, look at the positive, do what you can, and whatever you can do is enough. Okay, love to you all. Bye-bye.